as I always started off with, right? Ain't nothing new under the sun, but I need to get the fuck out the house. But in between that, and please excuse me if it's a little loud out here, so I'm gonna be speaking up. But you've heard me speak about this before, and I'm gonna keep talking about this until I'm blue in the face. The reason being that there's just a lot of shit out there that a lot of us don't know, that's hiding in plain sight, that we really need to know, so that we can start making better decisions about what goes on in our reality. And not just that. And the last post I made about humanity failing itself because of our reaction, our collective reaction to the X-Files. My aunt still told me to keep talking because there's still enough or a lot more that needs to be said. So that being said, when the elders speak, you listen. So I want to share with you something I came across in regards to HR 4079 and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, a tool that can be used to establish the police state, patriots, and tax protesters. You must never be found at home on any holiday. Your life depends on how well you obey that rule. But what was most important to me about this was, and again, I'll be putting little links in the description so you can go back and look all this up for yourself. But on page 122 of Behold the Pale Horse, written by William Cooper, it states, the following is a transcript of an audio tape with an urgent message from to the people from William Cooper on the subject of HR 4079. We must stop the traitors now. William Cooper dictated this information to me by phone early in 1990. I tape recorded the information as he gave it, and I made many tapes and sent them out exactly as Mr. Cooper asked me. All right, begin tape. There's a guy by the name of Buster Horton. He's a member of FEMA. He's a member of the Interdepartmental Unit, which is empowered in the event of national security emergency to become the unelected national government, a sort of FEMA secret government, so to speak. A pretext for invoking those emergency measures can be found almost daily in the newspapers. It can be anything from the suspension of debt payments to the high bureaus of American countries to mass runs on U.S. commercial banks. That's an issue, by the way, that's being handled personally by the National Security Council and Brent Scowcroft. To food shortages, to the drug war, the whole bit. Anything and any disaster emergency declared at all, even including the oil spill from the Exxon tanker in Alaska. If the president had declared a national emergency that could have triggered it, any instability in the Middle East, anything in fact. And they've already tested their capabilities. In April 1984, Orson Welles, with Rex 84A, and that was designed to test the readiness of the U.S. civilian and military agencies to respond to serious national security crisis. Now, the executive order that will implement this, the Executive Order 11051, details responsibilities of the Office of Emergency National Planning, or FEMA. It gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of national emergency declared by the president, increase international tension or economical or financial crisis. Note that it covers every conceivable domestic crisis, but does not even mention war or nuclear attack. Pay attention to that. All right. Now, the only thing that has to happen for FEMA to be able to implement all the executive orders, emergency executive orders, is for the president to declare a national emergency of any type, as long as it's a national emergency. Now, in that is a list of all the actual orders that are included in that. I'm going to read a couple of them, right? Executive Order 10995 provides for the takeover of the communications media. Executive Order 10997 provides for the takeover of all electric power, petroleum, gas, fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10988 provides for the takeover of food resources and farms. Executive Order 10999 provides for the takeover of all modes of transportation, control of highways, seaports, etc. Executive Order 11000 presides for the mobilization of all civilians into work brigades under the government supervision. That sounds like camps of concentration, if you ask me, or involuntary workforce. But you know, it's wards of the state because you have a birth certificate that is a bond. But another conversation for another day. All right. Let's see. Executive Order 11001 provides for governmental takeover of all health, educational, and welfare functions. Executive Order 11002 designates for Postmaster General to operate as a national registration for all persons. Executive Order 11003 provides for the government takeover of airports and aircraft. Executive Order 11004 presides for the Housing and Financial Authority to relocate communities, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Executive Order 11005 provides for the government to take over all railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Now, all of these were combined under Nixon into one huge executive order, which allows all of this to take place if the president declares a national emergency. All of these were combined into Executive Order 11490, and that was signed by President Carter on July 20th, 1979. So, if H.R. 4079 is passed and the president does what it says and declares a national emergency because of a drug situation, whether it's for 1 year, 5 years, 5 minutes, or forever, it doesn't make any difference. FEMA can implement all these executive orders and to take over all local, state, national government, suspend the Constitution, and do whatever they want to do. All right. There's one last thing in here he said that I really wanted to touch on. Let me find it. The very end. The Constitution is in serious danger. This has nothing to do with right wing, left wing, or any damn thing. It has to do with Illuminati taking over this country and joining the New World Order. If the Epstein files didn't show you nothing, ladies and gentlemen, and when I showed you the connections between the NAACP and Margaret Sanger, who was the only woman to be inducted or given the title of Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, documented and verified, this is the woman that started Planned Parenthood. And W.E.B. Du Bois brought her to the black community so that she could, in her own words, remove the lost tribe of Judah off the face of the planet Earth. And these are the type of things that we're dealing with. And this trickles, this rabbit hole's deep. It goes all the way down to even your local unions. And I'll be showing you that soon. But I'm gonna literally put up on the screen. You see, this was in 1979 that they started pushing H.R. 4079. It is now 2026. And you best believe that in 2025, that shit went live. This means they're playing a long game. This means that they will come up with legislation or executive orders, not always actual laws, but they'll come up with them and they'll wait to use them or use a loophole that's deep within them and use them 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And by that point, most people have forgotten what the actual setup was. And this is the problem. And this is what we all as a collective have to start paying attention to and actually standing on as a collective. Because if not, we're going to all get rocked to sleep. All of us are going to get rocked to sleep. And this is what they're banking on. This is why they're pushing all the issues they're doing. That's why I'm telling you, once I actually sat back and paid attention to what was going on with the whole diaspora wars and shit, I guarantee you, because if you actually pay attention, there's a certain nation on the globe map whose government pays online or internet influencers stipends to push their narrative or their propaganda. So all it takes is for 1 or 2 people to start making content, and the few people out there that do actually agree with whatever sentiment that they're talking, motherfuckers are gonna run with it. Why? Because we live in the digital information age of clout chasing and everything else. Understand when your intergenerational trauma is being weaponized against you to motherfucking use and pimp you like a goddamn hoe. Because this is what's happening. My mom sent me a text this morning because of a Facebook influencer talking about that the 14th Amendment meant that black Americans were never actually citizens. And I had to explain to her, no, what it meant was that the 13th Amendment freed us, the 14th Amendment ratified that, but made us citizens of the United States of America Corporation. But it was stated that that 14th Amendment only applied to the children and the descendants of the free slaves. But the government, primarily the progressive liberal Marxist Democrats, have been using it to include anybody that came here and had a child. So if someone was on vacation, or if someone, like over the last administration of old Papa Sleepy Joe Biden, Mama Kamala was given free reign to come across the border and claim economic asylum, any children they had here were automatically birthright citizens. And if you pay attention to what's happening in Virginia right now, and you see what their congressman just did, when you go through the nitty gritty and the actual verbiage of that bill, that anti-assault rifle bill, then you'll see what's really going on. And I know a lot of people don't want to see it, and I can't believe I'm sitting here at this point actually saying it, but no one understands when you've been played and when you've been had. And for those of you that have been keeping up with that 1199 SEIU Tether / Sambo American Horror Story, Tether House, Sambo House American Horror Story, you should actually look up the Taft-Hartley Act and then understand what makes 1199 SEIU so different from other unions in the nation. And then you start understanding just how deep this rabbit hole goes, and you'll understand just how much they're actually playing you. And it's some diabolical shit. The rabbit hole goes deep. But if you really want to know what's going on, all you got to do is just ask, and then be willing to accept the information that comes your way. But yeah, I'll leave those links in the description. But we're definitely going to be swinging the block and talking about some of these issues, especially what the Taft-Hartley Act actually was and what it meant, and what it now means for all of us as Americans. But pay attention to what's going on around the world right now, and understand, just like when Governor Hochul came out with the Proposition 213 in New York, what that HR 4079 actually means for all of us. That means you, that means I, that means we, that means us, as in the United States of American citizens, birthright and naturalized alike. Only difference for us birthright citizens, unless you got some bread and some heavy cheese stacked up or a private island somewhere, when this shit goes left, ain't nowhere for us to go. But everybody else that's been, you know, what AOC tell you? Asylum seekers can be charged with no crime. That's why when they do the shit they do, like we all just witnessed in the news, they immediately get released from jail with no motherfucking bail. They're playing in your face, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for all of us as a collective, that 3%, to start standing on business and pointing out and handling the agendas that directly affect us in our lives. Because if we do not start now, today, tomorrow is gonna be too late. So on that note, I'm gonna get out of here, and it is what it is. Realize, and transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars, keep that head on a swivel, and remember, it is a dirty game out here, and none of these people are playing fair. But we all have a civic responsibility and duty, because we, the people, are the government. Just like when it comes to the union, we, the union members, are actually the union. But on that note, like I say, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all be safe out there. Enjoy your weekend. And just know that coming very soon will be a definite update, because the farther we go down this rabbit hole, the deeper it gets. And it will be broken up into chapters. But we will be releasing short little teasers here and there along the way as we go through and cross those T's and dot those I's.